All right, so here we go. In our next video, we are going to cover having a object move on the screen using keyboard input. So what I'm doing right now, you can't see. Well, you can see. Like this thing, keyboard. You should be able to press the keys and have this thing move. So having move left, up, down, right. And so what I'm going to go through in this video is how to code that. All right, so let's just start off with what I have to begin with. I have my x values, my y values from the previous video. So my size, setup, draw. I think this is about the same as what I had before. Oh, I had like plus 50 before. Now what I'm going to add in is about. I'm off on the screen here. Oh, I hope that wasn't like that. All right, hopefully that should be better. What I'm adding in here is about key pressed. And so if you remember from lesson 2, we talked about doing just being able to handle key inputs. And what I'm going to do here is on key pressed, what I'm going to say is I basically just need to manipulate my x and y values, right? I have these global variables x and y. I just need to manipulate them within key pressed. So what I'm going to say is like if key code, so I want to do like up, down, left, right. So those are not ASCII variables. They're not letters, numbers, or like there are other commands from the keyboard, not letters, commas, punctuation, or any of that stuff. So I'm going to say if key code is equal to up, I'll just do 1. Let's do down first because that's more visible on the screen. So we'll say if it's down. Then what do I need to do? Well, if I want to make the thing appear to go down, I need to change the y value. And actually, what you have to remember here is that 0 is at the top. So when we go down, we're actually adding numbers to y, not subtracting. Because 0 and then increasing will actually make it go down the screen, which I think is a little counterintuitive. I'm going to do one thing that's kind of bad here, and then I'll come back and fix it later. So we'll do this just to begin with, just a single one, and I'll maybe show you that this works, and we'll go back to it. All right, so now if I hold down, it's going to move this down. Yeah, and so I don't have the other keys working, but that's at least the start. It's very kind of, there's no trick to this. Just if this thing is pressed, then we need to manipulate this value. I think a lot of times students will think, well, do I need to have some special command or something? No, just as straightforward as that. So let me get these other ones in here, and we'll be right back. All right, so I went through and I updated these values up, down, left, right. Actually, just did this. I haven't messed with these values, so I thought it might be valuable to look at. Okay, so we said plus is going to make the thing go down because we start at 0 and then increase as we go down. And then going up would be subtracting a value from that. If we want to make our x value if we want to make our circle go to the left, we don't need to be messing with y anymore. We need to be messing with x. And again, we start at 0 and then increase as we go right. So if we want to go to the left, we actually need to decrease our value. And then same thing for our x. But we'll adjust this to be x, but if we're going right, we should be increasing it by 5. So let's run that again. And now we should be kind of where I was at in the video, having this thing move. Now, one thing is I'm doing this, I don't really like that seems like it's really slow. So what I want to do here is I want to adjust these values. But the annoying part is like I have this value in 5 different places. Or excuse me, I have this value of 5 in 4 different places. And I don't want to update these every single time, and then I don't like that value, I have to adjust it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a separate variable called speed. Speed. Just copy that and put it in here. Now the beauty of doing this is that now I can put up here, I can make a variable called speed. I'm going to set it equal to 5. If I do that, I'll just recreate what I already had. Speed is going to be 5. Right. And then if I want to make it faster, I can just update this value. Instead of being 5, I'll make it like 15. And now instead of having to adjust all those values individually, I now have this thing moving like that. And I could even do something like, I'm not going to do this in my code, but I'm going to leave some imaginative stuff up to you. But maybe we could do something in here like if I press S, I get like a speed boost, and the value of speed will increase. Or maybe I'm going to play around with something like you could have if you're making maybe like a racing game or something, when you go through the mud, I don't know, it's just like totally made up. Go through the mud, the speed decreases gets set down to 2. Or if it's not in the mud, it's 5, but if it's in the mud, it's going to be, it's going to be set to 2. So that could be a way you can kind of play around with some of these values inside of your code and make your game a little more dynamic really quickly with just a couple lines of code. All right, so I think that does it for this one. And I'll pick up doing some more in just a minute.